Hello, everybody. Welcome here to another podcast. Here, this is actually an updated version of my Burgers and Fries game talk. This is Burgers and Fries game talk with an added shake, a milkshake, whatever you want to call it. Burgers and Fries with a shake or milkshake. Then, yeah, that's what we'll call it from now on because an added flavor, added update to the podcast there and stuff. It's been a while since I've done these. Been making review after review after review, and I guess it's time to get back into the podcast here and just I'm just here having some protein chips, ranch flavored, and they're really good, made by a company called Quest, and it's a great day out today. Hope you all had as of this recording. Hope you had a great Easter weekend and all like that, and hope you all doing well and staying safe. And joining me for this episode of Burgers and Fries Game Talk with an added shake is introduce yourself.
Well, I'm Grim Monolith. I am one of the editors for Dark Titan Enterprises. For those of you who don't know, that is Vera Dark's channel. So I do a lot of the content editing for that particular channel and another channel called Dark Titan Media. So I make my rounds around social media, and we cover a lot of gaming news and a lot of censorship news, and that's kind of what we specialize in, and we've got a lot of people that stream off our channel. I'm also on Titans Talk podcast and the Titans Table podcast, which are also on the Dark Titan channels as well.
And you'll be in Burgers and Fries Game Talk more too, I'm sure. I hope, right?
Absolutely. But I'll be showing up with a chocolate shake because chocolate is what I enjoy.
I enjoy chocolate, vanilla, cookie dough shake. In fact, like Steak and Shake has the best shakes. Cookies and cream, cookie dough, they're both really good. Just very filling to the point where like a couple times in the past I've gone out there with a friend from high school who I graduated with me. Just like instead of me never dinner, we'd meet for milkshakes and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. All that sugar though, man. In the end.
Sugar rush indeed. The sugar rush indeed.
Better brush your teeth a lot so you don't get all those damn cavities coming in. But coffee as well. I like coffee flavored as well. But hey, all that sugar, like I said, all that sugar. Hey, it keeps us going, right?
Yeah, keeps us going. How true that is, Grimond. How true that is there. So, I'm not a coffee drinker. I don't drink coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker. But yeah, that sugar rush keeps it going there, and just it almost makes you think you're on a sugar rush right now because we're talking about all this food stuff and whatever stuff. But heck, what can you do? It's good. It's sometimes fun to just pretend or whatever, just to pretend and just have fun,
I agree, 100%. So games are what we're here to talk about, right? Games.
Of course, gaming discs, field game consoles, classic games, modern games.
Yeah, everything, right? Everything. I'm a little bit of an older dude. I've been around a while, Currently, my day job is teaching college. I'm a instructor, math teacher at a university. So I've been around.
I'm
a while.
Yeah, I've been around too. As of right now, I'm 32 years old and stuff like that. So.
Oh, I'm a little bit older than you are, my friend. A little bit older. We can keep my age a secret right now. But it is a little bit higher than that.
We don't need. Yeah, there's no point in that.
Let's just say that my gaming resume starts back in the early '80s. So. I've been on a lot of systems. The first system I ever owned was an Atari 2600 and an Apple IIe. Ooh. So for those of you who know what those are out there, I've been gaming a long time.
Same here as me.
I saw talking about kind of like more modern topics. One of the things that I know you were really interested in talking about was, some of the things that are going on with Sony right now, right?
Yeah.
You had mentioned about the shops closing down, the PS3 shop, the Vita shop, the PSP shop all closing down,
Mm-hmm.
And I know that seemed to be something that kind of hit home for you. And maybe a lot of people, because who knows how many people are still on those systems. I would imagine that the portables probably still have more people utilizing them than the actual PS3 system does. Because the Vita is from 2011 originally, so it's a lot newer than the PSP, especially the PSP and the PS3, which is from 06, and the PSP is from 05. So, those have been around a while, but the Vita, not so much. Now the Vita's aging because it would be close to a decade old.
Yep.
But, it released in 2011, so it's a lot newer than those two systems. So how does this affect you with these? Well, how do you feel about them closing them down? How do you feel that it affects other people, and how does it affect you, sort of speak, that they're closing down these shops?
Well, the only one that would affect me is the PS3 store because I never owned a PS Vita. I did own a PSP, but I kind of stopped playing modern gaming because I just couldn't really get into modern gaming anymore. But like my PS3 console, like the PSN store would not work on my slim PS3 for some reason. I think it was all consoles like that because they're probably switching to like exclusively online. But the funny thing is, like about a couple days after my birthday or so like that, the PSN store like online had a complete overhaul where you couldn't access the PS3 games anymore, and I was kind of freaking out because I got the game Drakengard 3 and I wanted to get the Japanese audio for that, and I was freaking out wondering what to do. And then thankfully I was able to find a way by buying the upgrade from like the DLC part of link of a tab in the game itself, and I was able to get the Japanese audio. But dear Lord, it took like
Right.
it took like 6 hours to install. But thankfully, nothing happened to my PS3 and stuff. But I can tell, like, because of like the new quality and technology, the PS3s after they update after a while, they start having problems. Like certain games freeze when you're logged in online, like Virtua Fighter 5 or something like that, because like it's just, I don't know, just the updates, just no one's playing them online anymore, so they're gonna have problems. And
Yeah, they're probably because they're taking servers offline, right?
Mhm.
So they're not really diverting any resources to those particular games, or just the system in general, the PS3 in general. So as they take servers offline, you have less connectivity, you have the ability to be able to connect with other players isn't there, and there's probably just a lot of less players in general for those games. So yeah, I can see that happening. Definitely.
Yeah, I can see it too, because like it's a shame that like some of the games don't work when you're logged in online anymore. Like Mercenaries 2, World in Flames is a perfect example. I thought it was my copy that kept freezing, but it was just like, it's just how it is now and stuff, because it just happens. But like just when you're connected to the internet on certain games, it works fine, but some of them it does not. Like I'm just trying to think here, because like there are certain games that work better when you're logged in, when you're not logged in. So it's a way, it's like a seesaw, win-win situation there. But like, yeah,
Well,
go ahead.
it's like I've always said, and I say this all the time, and we say this all the time on Dark Titan. I hate games as a service, live service games. I hate, or always on games. Look at what just happened with Outriders, right? Outriders, which just came out, had tons of server problems over the weekend, where a lot of people couldn't even log in until Sunday night,
Oh, Lord.
or Sunday afternoon. They couldn't even log in. Now, there are kind of like single-player components to that game, because it does have a single-player storyline, right? But because it was designed as an always-on game, where it does have like Destiny-type elements where you're in a massive multiplayer online universe like Destiny, it's always online. So there's no offline component, even though there's a single-player storyline. So all of the people that couldn't log on because the servers were bogged down or crashed or just unavailable couldn't even play the single-player game. And that's what happens now with these always online games.
How true that is. Like
When the
perfect,
servers go down, you can't play.
right. Like perfect example of that happened that we couldn't play right away. It's like was the Halo Master Chief Collection. Like I don't own it because I'm not an Xbox fan anymore. After 360 read me the second time, I was pretty much done with Microsoft altogether. But like I heard like all the things that are going on were like it was so glitchy and broken you couldn't play online, and that's the main thing people liked about Halo was like the multiplayer and stuff, and you couldn't log in. Thankfully they did fix it, but like imagine being hyped up for that series only for that to happen. Yeah, you're gonna be not gonna be good at all. Not gonna be good.
Absolutely. Master Chief Collection, when it launched, it had a lot of problems. Luckily, they fixed it, and now they even have crossplay with the PC. So any of the games that are, and they've added games to the Master Chief Collection as well over the years.
They did?
So
like what games?
Yes.
Games?
I forget what it originally launched with, but now I believe all of the Halo games are available on the Master Chief Collection. I think they added ODST to it. I don't think ODST was part of the original collection, but that was added to it.
I'm not sure. I don't own but like I kind of stopped playing Halo after Halo 3 because like Halo 3 was just disappointing for me because like it was just so short and just like it just felt like a rehash stuff that I mean nothing will top the original Halo. The first Halo was awesome. Halo 2 was good, mediocre, okay at best, but Halo 3, yeah, just when everything started going downhill. And I remember Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
We bought the Legendary Edition with the helmet and everything like that, and it was the biggest ripoff ever. The only good thing I can say about the Legendary Edition was that it had cutscenes and like gameplay in it to make it seem like a movie, which was good, but the quality was a little grainy a little bit and stuff. And in the Halo 2, the subtitles went by way too fast throughout like 75% of the movie. And I'm a subtitle guy,
I hear you. And as far as story goes, the games after 2, they weren't that well written. The pacing in them wasn't good. Halo 5 was absolutely the worst.
I heard about it. They even changed Cortana's voice around too. So
yep. And 4 was not much better. So so that series kind of took a turn for the worst. The original games are still good, but ODST was really good. Reach was really good. Halo 1 and 2 was really good.
Don't forget
which was the remake of the first one, right?
Yeah. But you can choose between the original
graphics. Or the remaster, sorry. It was not a remake, it was a remaster.
I'll admit that was good to show what they did with the graphics. I'll admit that was cool, but because here's the thing, I had Halo on the Xbox and the PC. Because like the PC version had some frame rate issues and the graphics were not that good, but it did have a flamethrower in it, so I guess that was it. They had a flamethrower on it, so that was I guess cool. But for me because here's the thing, when we got our Xbox, my brother wanted an Xbox just because Halo 2 came out, and we got it for Christmas, and I wanted to get the original Halo so I could play it on the Xbox, and I liked the first Halo better. I mean, I liked the first Halo better, and I always will. And I liked how it ran much better, and like it was more interesting for me. And like I know, like some people thought it was weird that I got Halo 1 the day after Halo 2. People were like, why would you do that? Because I wanted to see how it began and play it on my Xbox. I had to boot up my crappy laptop at the time that ran like crap because it was an HP 2003, 2004 laptop that's not going to run very well. I mean, like it ran Jedi Knight Jedi Academy decently or so like that, but like still, it was better to do it even though the Xbox version was like had frame rate issues like that for like certain games or so, but yeah, because
absolutely, I've done that before. I played the second game in a series and then gone back to the first game, and I've gone back and forth between PC and console versions. I've done that a ton, and Halo, like I said, Master Chief Collection now is all fixed, and they've added content, they've added games to it, and it runs pretty smooth now. Great frame rates. Patches for Series X, not Series X, for Xbox One X. I think that hopefully they'll do a Series X patch as well, because that would be really cool.
Well,
it looks great on the PC and so forth. But anyway, we were talking kind of about what was going on with Sony, and I just want to throw my kind of like feelings on what kind of went down with Sony. And look, is it that much different than what's happened with Nintendo over the years? like they recently just shut down the DS shop, right? They shut down the Wii U and the Wii shop, eShops. You can't buy anything from those shops anymore. So all of the money that any of us have spent on like virtual console games, and this is the one that always got me, at least with Nintendo, was all the money that I put into virtual console games on both the Wii and the Wii U. I know that there's IP agreements and trademarks and whatnot that have to be dealt with from moving games from system to system, but it just kind of sucks knowing that I spent all that money on virtual console games on the Wii and the Wii U, and I don't even use those systems anymore. And I use my Switch now, which I use a ton of. I love the Switch, but they don't even have the virtual console on the Switch. So even if I wanted to repurchase them, then they're not there. But I have no access to any of those games. Look, on the Sony platforms, especially now, with our current generation, which is PlayStation 5 and the Series X, and those are our current generation of consoles, there is the opportunity for backwards compatibility, right? So the Series X plays any Xbox One games, and in fact, the Series X also carries over any of the backwards compatibility that the Xbox One had with the 360 and the OG Xbox games. Mm-hmm. So that's all carried to the Series X. And of course, the PlayStation 5 has backwards compatibility with the PlayStation 4. So only
100 games, I heard. Only 100 games.
No, anything. There's anything. There's like maybe just a few games from the PlayStation 4 that do not work on the PlayStation 5, because I have a PlayStation 5 and that's what I use. I don't use my PlayStation 4 anymore. And there's definitely a bunch of PlayStation 4 games that I purchased since I got the PlayStation 5, and they all run perfectly fine. And they're just the PlayStation 4 versions. So everything, for the most part, the entire PlayStation 4 library is backwards compatible to the PlayStation 5. So they all run the PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
But people really wanted the PlayStation 5 to be able to play PS3 games.
And PS2 and PS1.
Yes, well, exactly. But at least PS3 games, right? But they didn't make it happen, and it had to do with the way that the PlayStation 3 processor works, and it just didn't happen, right? Sony is not committed to backwards compatibility. They never have been, right? Because I don't know if you remember statements years ago from Sony where they said no one wants to play old games, right? That was before they started putting, like old Final Fantasy games and old PS1 games and PS2 games on the PSN, which are on there now, but they weren't on there then, when PSN was new or before it existed. Now they're putting stuff up there, but they've sort of changed their tune about backwards compatibility and people wanting to play old games. Yeah, and they certainly saw that with the Xbox.
Yeah, especially how they released all those HD remastered stuff. So I can see why. Yeah. Because yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah, so now they've kind of changed their tune, but they're still not fully committed to that backwards compatibility. And we see that with these stores closing. And look, I don't blame them. It's no different than Nintendo closing down their 3DS store, their DS store, their Wii U store, their Wii store. It's not much different than that. But they're really, at least with the Vita, they're giving no one an opportunity to be able to get Vita games. There'll be no way to get new Vita games anymore, which is a shame, because I think the Vita was a system that Sony just never gave a chance. At least in Western markets, they never gave Vita a chance.
It was basically a lot of JRPGs and stuff on there, along with that Uncharted game, Golden Abyss, which it would have been nice to have a game on the home consoles, but I can see why, because it just wasn't as popular as the other Uncharted games there.
Well, the biggest seller, or one of the main sellers that was on the Vita, was Persona 4 Golden, because that was originally a Vita exclusive. It isn't now. They've they've got that on PlayStation now on the regular consoles, but it took them a lot of years before that was available off the Vita, and that was sort of like the remaster with extra content of Persona 4, which was an awesome game, and Persona 4 Golden was why I originally bought my Vita. And they've, again, Atlas Sega has moved that onto the normal PlayStation 4 console now. But originally it wasn't. And, that was there, and that was a system seller. But, the Vita just didn't have a lot of those system sellers there. But there are a lot of quirky anime-based RPGs and JRPGs.
There were a lot of Neptunia games on there. A lot of them. There were so many of them on there. It makes you wonder why only put them on the Vita when they could have put them on the home consoles. That actually would have been better, because they had so many Neptunia games on the Vita. It wasn't even funny. It had tons more than the home consoles. The PS3 only had Hyperdimension Neptunia, Hyperdimension Neptunia Mark II, and Hyperdimension Neptunia Victory. And while the PS4 had it had Mega Dimension Neptunia V2, and it had Four Goddesses, this is Dimension Neptunia Online, whatever it's called, and had all those spin-offs there and stuff. It's just that there hasn't been a main storyline Neptunia game in a long time. I mean, I know we're on topic here, but like I said, I think on topics on the fly here, like I mentioned here. But you played Neptunia before?
I'm not super familiar with the series. I know what it is. I have played some of the games. I was never super impressed with the combat that was in those games. But I know that they're popular, and I know that they had a lot of them on the Vita.
Yeah.
So you were saying that there was a lot of them that went onto the Vita that didn't make it onto a mainline Sony console like the PlayStation 4. So none of those games to this day have been ported over to the PlayStation 4?
Well, there was one called Neptunia Rebirth Plus, but that was on the PS4. It was a remake of the first game, which adds more content to its stuff, but it's only released in Japan. They are remaking it for the PlayStation 5, but I don't own a PS5, and I don't know if I'll be getting one anytime soon. So that's the thing. But
with the shortages out there, it's gonna be tough.
But it's just been in the end though, with Neptunia. Basically, the only reason I would want it is because of the updated combat, and because you get to see an added scene where Neptune meets the CPU guy's candidate Nepgear. That's kind of the main reason why I wanted it. But it's kind of stupid just to have it just for a cutscene or so like that. And for Rebirth 2, because the cutscenes in the original Neptunia Mark II, they use the in-game character models for the cutscenes and stuff like that. And sure, but in the Vita version they use the still images with the mouse moving up and down and stuff, which I thought was better, but still, the dumb reasons. And it's just, if I knew Japan,
I don't think that they're dumb. I don't think that they're dumb reasons. Look, you're a fan of the series and you want to see the extra content, and even if it's not that much content, it's still worth it for you to buy another version of the same game, and that's fine. I've done that with other games as well. So I think it's fine to want that content to be carried over to another system so that you can see it. And it's a shame that with the shutting down of these stores, you're not going to have access to that content, because it sounds like, from what you're saying, that they haven't ported a lot of that over yet. They haven't made any effort to get that on to the PlayStation 4 or the PlayStation 5, which means that content's just kind of dead.
Yeah,
you can't get to it. You can't get to it. And this is my complaint with all of these stores shutting down. And it's the same complaint that I've always made about Nintendo. So it's definitely not a new complaint. I'm not making any new points or any new complaints here. It's been a shame as these stores shut down, as these systems go out of circulation. You don't see that content rolled into the next system, which is something that's sort of changing now with the the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 5, and the Xbox One and the Xbox Series X. You are seeing content rolled from one system to the other, and part of that has to do with how similar the architecture is in those systems, because remember, a PlayStation 4 and a PlayStation 5, they're both x86 sort of PC architecture systems. The PlayStation 4 is an AMD Jaguar, and the PlayStation 5 is an AMD Zen 2 big Navi system. Same with the Xbox One, which is also a AMD Jaguar, and the Xbox Series X is also a Zen 2 big Navi system, all x86 chips. So, that's why there's almost complete compatibility between, PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5 and Xbox One and Xbox Series X games, because they're basically using the same code, so to speak. The games are written on the same programming languages. You have to do very little to nothing to make them work on the other system. They're almost completely, they're just about 100% compatible. But from these older systems where you don't have that type of compatibility, PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4, where they're completely different systems architecturally.
That's true.
The CPUs, the GPUs, everything involved in those two systems are completely different. So there's a lot of work that has to go into making them compatible, and sometimes that work involves, basically having to build emulators. So the only way that you might be able to get a PS3 game to even work on a PS5 is you gotta build an emulator, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is sort of what they do with games on PSN. So Sony does have emulators because they have games off on PSN and PS Now. They're kind of like Game Pass like service that does have PS2 and PS3 games, and they're essentially running off of emulators. So that they can do it, but they don't roll a ton of content over. And when you see these stores close, you don't have access to that content anymore. Just like when servers go down for a always online game, you no longer have access to playing that game anymore because you can't just pop the disc in your system and go. And that's why I hate stuff like this. And that's why I'm sad when I see these stores close, especially, in my opinion, an underappreciated, underdeveloped, an under-supported system like the Vita, which never saw its day in the limelight. It never saw it never was given its ability to shine because Sony didn't let it. And it was such a great system with a great screen, especially the first release of the system with the OLED screen. The screen was beautiful for the time. And hey, it is what it is. And these stores close, but
yeah, because, remember how they let the PSP shine? Like, I remember, in the PSP, and when we had Nintendos in the PSP, I thought the PSP was miles better, in my opinion. I mean, I didn't care for that touchscreen gimmick or so like that for the DS. I mean, do anyone like it? Hey, I respect your opinion there, but, with the PSP and stuff, I'm enticed right now. I don't know if you remember the little defected pixel problem that some of the characters of the PSP had. Do you remember that at all?
I remember. Which series PSP was it in?
The original PSP, the original version.
So was it the 1000 series?
Yes, the PSP 100, okay. 200, whatever you call it. Yeah, one of those, like the ones.
Yeah, I think it was so. I actually, so my original PSP, I actually spent some time overseas teaching, because back in 2005 is when I was in the middle of graduate school back then, and they had me overseas over in Asia where I was doing a teaching for my department, and I actually was able to pick up a PSP 001 from Japan when it was launching. So I had one of the original PSPs, and then I bought a slim one later down the line, a 3000 series. Just because they were slimmer. I don't think the screen was any better, but the system was definitely a lot slimmer because my original PSP was kind of fat. But I do remember that pixel problem. I never had that with mine, but I do remember reporting that problem.
Yeah, I remember mine had on 3 games, like Spider-Man 2, Twisted Metal Head-On, and Need for Speed Underground Rivals. It looked all messed up looking, had all these weird ass pixels all over the place, and it was just it was just terrible.
and then of course they had that awful PSP Go thing. I mean, I own two PSP Go's. I bought them and turned them into emulation machines. I bought them after the fact. I bought them used. I never bought them to actually play PSP games on them. I mean, God knows the memory cards for them, because it's that Sony proprietary memory stick, and that thing is so expensive. You know, that was another thing that killed the Vita, right? Was the memory cards for the Vita were so much money. Oh my God! Why couldn't they have just used SD cards? Sony and their memory sticks. I mean, they've got that problem with a lot of their cameras now use SD cards, and they have for a couple of years. But if you go back 5-6 years ago, I mean, their cameras were using only the Sony memory cards, and they were terrible just because of the price. It was nuts. But just more mistakes Sony makes, right? But hey, man, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of sad because, you know, like you were saying, you know, you're not going to see your Neptunia, at least right now, you're not seeing your Neptunia content rolled over into another platform that you can get access to. You know, it's just unavailable right now. And that's what happens when these shops close down. And it's an inevitability. I mean, this is what happens as systems get older. The shops close down. Support for the systems disappears. There's not a lot of people there to continue paying to support the system, but it is just the way of the world, right?
Right. Yeah. And the thing is, like trying to think of, like, people are worried that when the PS3 store closed, they don't know if they'll be able to play the stuff they downloaded from the PS3. Like, I don't know if I haven't tried yet, but I don't know if I'll be able to play Sonic Adventure or Sonic Adventure 2 on the PS3 or so like that, or so. But like, I want to try it, but it's just haven't really tried it lately for some reason. Don't know why, but I plan on it. But like, it makes you thankful that I got that content that I downloaded when I did. Because if I would have waited any longer, then like, yeah, it would have been awful.
And if something were to happen, and let's say you had a hard drive crash on your PS3, there would be no way to replace that content, right? Because you can't access that content again and download it, even though you paid for it, which is what happened with the virtual consoles with the Wii. You know, what we have on our Wii and our Wii U now is all we're ever going to have on it. We can't get the content again. We can't download it again, which sucks. And that's what I think is kind of the shittiest part of the stores closing. Is not that you won't be able to buy new content. It's that you never have access to the content that you already paid for on that system ever again. So I think you're still going to be able to play those games because all of the content on my Wii and my Wii U still functions. So I believe all of the content that's on my PS3s will also continue to function, even the digital content. It's just that you won't be able to replace that content if you ever needed to replace it. You know, if you got a new hard drive or you upgraded your hard drive or you had to replace a hard drive because it crashed and it didn't work anymore and you had to throw a new hard drive in there, you know, it's not going to be available. So, you know, I guess, hey, everyone out there, if you got a PS3, update it while you can, because who knows how long the updates are going to be available. Probably not much longer.
I always update my console, no matter what. I always update it.
Yeah, that's a good standard practice, is to run through all of your consoles, even if you haven't used it in a long time, or if you haven't used a certain console in a while, is just run through all of your consoles that are plugged in and make sure that they have, you know, the latest firmware and the latest software updates and the latest OS updates. And as long as you're not running anything that would be interfered with because of the latest updates, then just keep everything updated. Especially with things getting shut down, because you might get to a point where you can't anymore.
No, then that's the thing. Like, it's just hopefully. I mean, like, I'm sure I agree with you. I feel like when you're right, everything should be fine. But like, just imagine if nobody updated their consoles, they would be bad luck for them for sure, definitely.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's true. You're kind of out of luck.
Yeah.
But look, I think it's a shame. Through all the years and all of the eShops now that have been shut down, because we're definitely at a bunch of different eShops for Sony and Nintendo and OG Xbox, and Xbox 360 and all of these eShops that have been shut down. You don't really see a ton of that content getting rolled over, and there's various different reasons, like we talked about. There's trademarks and IPs you have to worry about, and tons of different reasons why content's not rolled over. But it's not rolled over, so it's kind of like missing content, and it's just a shame to see that happen. But it is the way it's been, and it's the way hopefully it doesn't continue to be with how the systems are now basically compatible. The consoles have turned themselves into PCs. So hopefully we won't see this happen again, where eShops are shut down and you no longer have access to those to the content that you paid for in the old eShops. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping with the PS4 and the PS5 and the Xbox One, the Xbox Series X, we see more of a PC type of attitude, a PC type of storefront where, look, I have games on GOG.com and games on Steam that I bought years and years ago before Windows 10 even came out, and they work fine on my Windows 10 machines. And that's what I want to see out of the consoles. And it's a shame that we don't see that with the older consoles, but we kind of can't expect that to be the case. But I'm going to expect that to be the case going forward. So Sony and Microsoft, they better keep their promise to give us that backwards compatibility where the eShops shutting down won't be a thing anymore.
Yeah. Well, we don't know what will happen. Only time will tell, because sometimes these companies have kept their promise, have promised this and they don't. But it's all like that. Cause remember when the Xbox 360 came out, they promised to fix the red ring of death with those what were the black color systems called? I don't remember what those were called, but I remember no matter which console you had, 90% of the consoles red ringed. And what was your reaction when your console red ringed the first time?
Well, they had so originally they had a black system which was called the Elite, and the 360 Elite, and that was
Elite. That's what was Elite.
Yeah, so that was the same as the white system, except it had an HDMI on it. Because remember when the Xbox 360 launched, it actually didn't launch with HDMI ports on it. It wasn't until I think a year and a half into the system's launch, when the PS3 came out, that all of the white Xbox 360s had HDMI ports on them. But then they came out with the 360 Slim, which didn't have the same failure rate as the previous generation systems. And my reaction to those systems failing was I was pretty pissed off. I had one of the systems that failed, and I had to send it in and wait weeks and weeks for my system to come back. And if I remember correctly, that whole fiasco cost Microsoft billions of dollars, all those systems they had to replace. And the system I sent them was not the system I got back. Because of course I had recorded the serial number of the system that I sent them. It was not the same serial number of the system I got back. So, they were basically just, you send your system in, they send you a refurbished system, a random refurbished system, and then they refurbish yours, and then they send that to someone else who sent the system in. And it was really annoying. But hey, look, at least Microsoft made good on their promise, and they extended the warranty on all of those 360s so that people could get systems replaced much longer into the life of that system. And then eventually I got one of the black Slims, which was, the second generation of the 360 that came out. And that's the one that I had for most of the life that I used a 360. Actually, they actually came out with a one after that called the E. I think it stands for like the 360 Economy. That came out actually around the same time as the Xbox One back in 2013, and that was the last version of the 360. I never owned one of those, but I have two Xbox 360 Slims. I have one of the black ones, the original black one, and then I have a Halo 3 360.
I remember those. I remember those.
Yeah, remember those? Yeah, I have one of those as well, and that had the I think a 320 gigabyte hard drive in it, and my 360 Slim had a 250 gigabyte hard drive in it. Because my original 360, the one that bricked, the one that I had to send in, had a 20 gigabyte hard drive in it, and that had the hard drive that basically sat on top of the system, and you press a little button and it popped off, and you could take it and put it on another 360. With the Slims, all have the hard drives inside of the system. So to get at the hard drive, you had to actually open it up and get inside the hard drive. But yeah, there was a great system of 360. I loved that system. Yeah, but it pissed me off when mine broke, man. I had to wait weeks to get another one. Weeks. And then not long after that, I ended up getting a Slim anyway because they had released the Slim.
Yeah, cause I remember I'll tell you my experience with it, like the Red Ring of Death and everything like that, and what got me to just stick with the Sony console, because at that point I was fed up with my second Red Ring of Death, and I'll tell you what happened. I didn't get a 360 right away at launch. I know when it first came out, I had friends who were waiting in line at midnight on a school night to get them to bring it home and play on a school night. And they were telling me about all the problems they were having. Arrows would pop up on the screen, pieces of the water controller would fall out, dots pop on the screen, it would overheat, it would shut off on you, there'd be graphic problems, and did I mention pieces of the water controller would fall out? Well, then if I didn't, then I do now. They would play for about 20 minutes, they were having problems. And I'm thinking to myself, how is this possible? And it turns out that Microsoft knew about the problems, but they released them anyway to get them out in time for the holiday. And that was the thing. The system was rushed, and it had a lot of problems. If you look at all the games that came out around the time it was first released, a lot of the games were utter garbage. Perfect Dark Zero, that was the Halo, supposed Halo for the system when it came out, and I had just beaten the original Perfect Dark for the first time. It took me 6 years to beat the game. I didn't know how to beat the Skitter boss, even using the guidebook. I was stuck. Then I learned, you had to shoot at that little totem statue to defeat it, and it felt successful to be able to beat that game. But then when you play Perfect Dark Zero, and it wasn't worth it at all. It's just what did they do to Joanna Dark? They made her into a stuck-up bitch who just I don't give a shit. I want to put a bullet Jane in his bitch door, and she doesn't care about anything going on. She's just all pissy and all pissed off in a bad mood. And Quake 4, the version of the 360 version had the frame rate issues and stuff, and a Madden 06 had features missing, which made it the worst version to get. And my first 360 Red Ringed, it only lasted about from late June 2006 to late September 2006, so it didn't last long at all. And we were trying to figure out what was going on. We tried everything. We tried using one of those air dusters right there. You shoot those little air can guns with the dusters. So that we thought that would work. That didn't work. And we thought
the compressed air cans.
Yeah, we tried that. Didn't work. We tried we tried everything. And then my brother saw that it was an internal problem. It must be returned. So we had to return it. And then we got the new one, and it was working fine, but this one would freeze up this console would freeze up, but there was no Red Ring of Death. And this was from, and then I see this console lasted from early October 2006 to early June 2008, so about not even 2 years. And I remember when I was playing Ninja Gaiden 2, I got Ninja Gaiden 2 and I wanted to play it, and I'm at the option menu trying to turn the subtitles on, and it just froze me all together. And I just thought, well, I'm fine. And then, lo and behold, it red ringed. And I was thinking to myself, that's just great. It red ringed again. It was fine stuff. Now, what are we going to do? So, you actually know what I did? I went to my PS3 and played Ninja Gaiden Sigma, and I waited for the thing to get a new console. I tried Ninja Gaiden 2, was not that good, but the Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 I liked, so just throwing it out there. And I'm like, you know, I'm done with Microsoft. I can't stand all these Red Rings of Death, having to replace your console, having to get a new one, stuff like that. This shouldn't be happening. Because my PS3, I had the original PS3. It lasted from late 2007 to middle of 2013 because something got fried in it or so it doesn't work well anymore. But I already had the slim PS3 anyway, so it wasn't a big issue. But my slim PS3 I got it in 2012. Like I think I got it in like May, like before Labor, like a few years before Labor Day weekend in 2012, and it still works fine. It's like they were built to last, but like I never had the problem with any of my consoles where they just stopped working on me altogether. So yeah, that was bullshit there that they just stopped working on you. But like, what can you do, you know?
Yeah, I hear you. There's nothing you can do. And sure, the PlayStation 3 definitely didn't have the failure rate that the 360 did. Absolutely. Although I will say about Ninja Gaiden, I liked the ones on the 360 better. I thought the Sigma ones were easier. I know that the Sigma versions had a little extra content in it, especially Sigma 2. But I thought that they were easier, and I didn't like how in Sigma 2 they actually took out a lot of the gore. I thought that was pretty stupid.
I didn't know so much of a difference. I did not know as much of a difference.
Yeah. But if I had to pick between which versions I'd want to play, I definitely would want to play the 360 versions over the Sigma versions, even though the Sigma versions were kind of like upgraded a little bit and had a little extra content. They were slightly changed a bit, especially with the hardness. Like I said, they were easier games, and then number 2 had the gore completely taken out of the game. Pretty silly if you ask me. It's a game about ninjas and decapitations.
You could still cut off limbs there like that compared to how
you could, but they took out the blood, and it was like some weird purple smoke, I believe, was in Sigma 2, but you know, hey, it was a long time ago.
I was okay with it, so I was fine. But like Ninja Gaiden 3, yeah, like we like Ninja Gaiden 3 was just so bad. Like I got the Razor's Edge, and oh my lord, they turn Ryu into a wimp. Like when first off they remove Ryu's mask, and he gets so touched when a little girl named Kana asked him to be her daddy, and he gets so touched by that. They changed Ryu's personality around so much. Like what the heck did they do to Ryu?
Going into the third one, the story just, it wasn't there for me either, man. I wasn't feeling it. I felt like I was looking at a different character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was different. He wasn't the same, but hey, you know, that's how writing goes sometimes. You don't always agree with it, you know?
And not only that, like the lip syncing matched up to the English instead of the Japanese. Like the other two games have matched up to both audio tracks, but they were just matches synced up to the English for some reason. It doesn't make any sense, but because Real High Boost is for Japan, it should be synced up to the Japanese, not the English. So that's just weird there.
Yeah, I don't remember that part of it, but I hear you. I agree. That is on the strange side if that's how they did it. Definitely.
Yeah, that is how they did it there, because like I thought to myself, what the heck is going on here? In fact, there's no Rachel in the game. I mean, you don't see Rachel. Instead, like you can play as Ayane, Momiji, and Kasumi in the multiplayer, but Kasumi is not even in the story at all. So what's the point of having her in multiplayer if she's not going to be in single player? I mean, sure, Ayane's in there, and it's fun to play as her, but like it's just, if they were going to add the female chapters, why would they only add like one chapter to play as them instead of like Rachel and Sigma only had 3 chapters to play as Rachel. In Sigma 2, it's like one Rachel, one Ayane, one Momiji, then it's just all Ayane stuff. Why would they? It would have been nice if you could like choose character, like choose the whole story. Like if like one you choose, you want to play as Ryu, choose Ryu. But if you want to play as Annie, choose Ayane. That would be great if you could do it like that. But I'm not Team Ninja stuff, so I don't know. Because like just that. Ninja Gaiden and Dead or Alive have gone downhill. In fact, I wanted to talk about Dead or Alive a little bit because like I own Dead or Alive 2 Hardcore and Dead or Alive 5 Last Ride and Dead or Alive Extreme 3 Fortune. I love those games. But Dead or Alive 6, I will not get Dead or Alive 6. It's they
Well,
toned
it's a microtransaction hell just to start with, right? Let alone the toned down the toned down fan service. You know, they basically took fan service out of the game because, as they said, they were trying to appeal more towards esports, which didn't work out for them in the
it
end.
failed, and the guy who was
Yeah.
behind that game left. So
He
Dead or
left.
Alive is
Yeah,
probably
he just left. Yeah.
Dead or Alive is probably long dead now and stuff, but Dead or Alive 5, yeah. I mean, I don't know yet. I don't know if you saw my review on Dead or Alive Extreme 3 Fortune. I don't know if you saw that review, but if not, I can tell you like what I think of it if you don't mind. Have you seen my review on that?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Well,
Tell us what
like,
you think.
I enjoy that game, but here's the thing: they couldn't put all the female characters onto the game. I think it was a space like that because I remember like it was only released in Japan and in Asia. The Asia version I have has a subtitle English version, but like they had like a contest going on which girls that they wanted in the game. So it basically like it had Kasumi, Momiji, Marie Rose, Hanuka, Helena Douglas, Hitomi, um, Kokoro, Ayane, and I'm trying to and Nayu Tengu, and but there's no Christy, there's no Lisa, no Tina Armstrong who's been in the series since the first game. She's not in there. They don't have Rachel, the Fiend Hunter. It would be nice to see Rachel in that game because she started becoming popular in Dead or Alive when they added her to Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate. And like they just that they didn't have all the all the characters in there, but still it's a fun game. But just like it just there's stuff missing from it, I mean like I know I gave it a good rating, it's still a good game, but just like it's just think about like if they it would have been nice if they created a version where it had Tina, Christy, Lisa, and stuff like that. But they did add Lei Fang and like this other girl called Misaki or something, I forget her name is, but in order to play as them, those two characters, you have to like download them from a Hong Kong. You have to have a Japanese or a Hong Kong PSN account to download them. So, so you can't really play as them. But then again, they probably wouldn't even be worth playing as anyway. But like, the funny thing is, they made a version called Dead or Alive Extreme 3 Scarlet. It's the same game, but has the two added characters, and it's censored. It's got some censorship in it and stuff. Like it's more censored. I mean, Extreme 3 Fortune and Extreme 3 Venus were not
Well,
censored.
Scarlet never even made it to a Western release.
Yeah, I know, but like,
Yeah, never
but,
even made it to a Western release. So.
but it's censored and stuff like that. And like the PS4 version is censored, but the Wii, but the Switch version is not.
Well, right. I mean, that's a whole nother topic, and we'll get to that topic on another show about Nintendo and Sony and censorship. But yeah, I hear you, man. Like, it just sucks when you see something you love, a series you love like that, and it gets censored, and you don't even see a release for a certain, installment in a series that you love because companies don't want to deal with having to censor a game, so they don't even release it in a region that they feel that they'd have to censor it to get it out in. So, I mean, that's been happening a lot, right?
Yeah, it
Hell,
has been. In fact, like, who would even want to get Dead Live Stream Boost if you already have Dead Stream Fortune that's not censored? Like, what's the point of getting it? I mean, just for those two characters? Please, give me a break.
right. I totally agree. But I feel that way about Ninja Gaiden 2 and Sigma 2. I mean, I know there's extra content in Sigma 2, but I feel that Ninja Gaiden 2 on the 360 is just a better game, and I don't care about the fact that there's like extra characters in it. I would rather play the 360 version of the game. It's just I feel the level of difficulty in it is better, and I really think having the gore in the game just makes it better. I just thought it was a better version of the game, but again, just my opinion.
It also
on
has
it.
the PS3 version also have that exclusive weapon, Dragon's Claw and Tiger's Fang. You forgot to mention that.
Right. Yeah, that is true. But again, I still don't think that those make up the difference in the game. Even with the extra content in the Sigma version, I would still rather have the 360 version.
Well, I can also do
And
like.
I have played both. I have played both.
I mean, I have played I prefer the PS3 controller over stuff. I mean, I like the controller layout better for the PS3 stuff too. I mean, even my brother when he's playing, he liked the controls better for the PS3 anyway, so he liked that better. But that's just me though. But like
But I
it's
totally hear you. That's preference. I mean, I at the time I liked the 360 controller a lot better, just because it was a bigger controller, and I liked how the analogs were offset. I was not as big of a fan of the PlayStation controller, but by the way, the PS5 controller is awesome. I love the PS5 controller.
I seen
It
it.
is,
Yeah, it looks cool
yeah,
definitely. But like it was one thing I missed about the Dead or Alive games. I missed the arrow. I missed those Aerosmith songs they had in Dead or Alive Ultimate. Dead or Alive 3.
yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, like it's like you obviously knew which you knew who the main character was of Dead or Alive 4, don't you? You know who the main protagonist was of that game?
It's been a while. I haven't played Dead or Alive 4
Helena
in
Douglas
a while.
because she
Okay,
has
right.
Helena Douglas because I can tell you why. You have to beat the game with every character to unlock her. On the character select screen, she has a big ass rectangle picture of the icon. She's in the middle, and her ending has the credits as well. And of course, one of the cool things you can unlock the Spartan character and stuff like that too. But that's just me. And Dare Alive, like, and her ending was canonical because I don't know if you saw the ending of Helena Douglas's ending in Dare Alive 4. She plans to go. She found, spoiler here, people. Sorry, but you found out that Christy was the one who killed her mom, who assassinated her mom. When she found out, and like the Doatech Tri Tower, the headquarters, that the big building at the beginning of the game, the big building with the three towers and stuff with the helipad. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Well, she set the self destruct sequence and blows up and wants to go down with the building, but Zack rescues her and she gives the victory. She won the Dead Life 4 turn, but she gives the Dead Life 4 turn victory to Zack because he saved her, and people were saying that that's how the series should have ended. But it would have been nice if we got that on like the PS4 so that because those people who own Dead Life 5 on the PS4 are missing a part of the story or so like that. But yeah, but of course with Dead or Alive 3, the main protagonist of that one was Ayane. She was the main winner of Dead or Alive 3. And if you watch her ending, she's crying over Raidu and all that stuff. So yeah, it's like a perfect way to end it. And she was definitely, I consider her the main protagonist of that. And Dead or Alive 1 and 2 was Kasumi, but yeah, that's just me though. And Dead or Alive like 5, I still consider Kasumi has been like the central protagonist, so I consider her the main protagonist as well. And I have not played Dead or Alive 6, but I have seen clips of the storyline, and it does show Marie Rose and Hanukkah introducing themselves to each other. But the story is so short. It's like Tekken 7's storyline. The Tekken 7 storyline was so short and disappointing. It was basically just there and stuff.
A lot of fighters are like that. They're not going to have long storylines, especially new ones, because like we discussed earlier, a lot of these fighters they're trying to capture a more competitive scene, and they don't care about the story. Look, Street Fighter V, it released with no story at all. They didn't even have a story mode, right? When Street Fighter V released, zero storyline. So
Yeah, 'cause I never play. I'm not a Street Fighter fan. I do not like the fighting style of Street Fighter. I never care for the Capcom fighting games, and I don't even care for those 2D fighting games like Arcana Heart. Never cared. I tried getting it, but I couldn't.
yeah, I hear you. I hear you. So we're getting up to around an hour. Might be a little over. So I think
We're at about 58 minutes and 30 seconds actually.
yeah. So why don't we do some closing thoughts on our main topic of the night, which was, the closing down of the Sony stores, the PS3 store, the PSP store, and the Vita store, and you can give a little outro, and yeah, and we'll go from there.
Well, it is sad that like it slows down. I mean, like it's just. I mean, I know we're gonna have to move on eventually, but it does suck that they're doing this because like you want to buy some for the PS3 like Sonic Adventure 1 2 or like Virtual Firefox Showdown or or the Bomberman, whatever it's called, Bomberman Ultra. So you can't anymore. So it's all gone. But like, I'm sure we'll all be able to move on eventually. But just right now, hearing the news, it just sucks because it makes you wonder what could happen if if it's going to affect just playing the games in general. You just don't know, but we'll see what happens for sure. You know.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm in total agreement. We gotta, we'll it's missing content, right? There's a lot of content that's not going to be available to people when these stores shut down, because a lot of that content has not made it onto any current gen systems, which are the PS4, PS5. They haven't made it onto those current gen, especially off of the portables, because clearly Sony doesn't have any portables on the market, nor do they have any plans to put a portable on the market. But we're not seeing a lot of that portable content go anywhere. How you were talking about the Neptunia games that are not available on anything else. They were basically made for the Vita, and they have not been ported to any other console yet, including PC. So we'll see what happens. Look, it's not a new thing. This has happened with Nintendo. The DS shop, the 3DS shop, the Wii, the Wii U. So this is not a new thing. But hopefully this will be the end of stuff like this happening.
Hope so too. I hope so as well.
Yeah, with the backwards compatibility being built right into the systems now. The PS4 to the PS5, and the Xbox backwards compatibility, with the backwards compatibility being built in the systems in a similar way to how PC games are backwards compatible and can be, you can run games all the way back to the 80s that were DOS games under Windows 10 using DOSBox. That is true backwards compatibility, and we're now seeing that type of backwards compatibility built into consoles. Now, they just have to make it so that eShop purchases continue to be available from generation to generation till we don't see consoles anymore and everything goes to cloud gaming anyway, and we have no more consoles, period. But that's a whole nother topic, cloud gaming.
Yeah.
But until we get to that point, and we have sort of eShops, I want to see the content available from compatible console to compatible console, and we haven't seen that in the past. And so it is sad seeing these close down, but it was not unexpected. I mean, we were all expecting this to happen sooner or later. I hope that PS3s continue to work, and people that have content on their PS3 continue to be able to use that content and not lose that content. But we'll see as time goes on. How unusable will PS3s become? Because it's part of the first generation of systems that really did depend upon an online system, right?
Right.
Because before, the PS2 didn't depend upon an online system, didn't depend upon getting firmware updates and OS updates all the time. PS2s didn't depend on that, but PS3s did. So now that things are getting shut down with the PS3, how will this affect the functioning of PS3s? I don't know, man. I don't know. And it's a big question, and I guess only time will tell. I hope that we will still see the functionality in our PS3s still be there, and in our PSPs, and in our Vitas, but who knows? Who knows? All we can do is hope that these systems will continue to be usable far into the future. And that is kind of my closing argument. Yeah.
That's mine as well. And I'd like to thank you all for joining our first episode of Burgers and Fries Game Talk with a Shake. And there'll be more episodes coming up with my host Grim Monolith here. So be on the lookout. We'll have more videos
Thank
coming
you,
in the future.
everyone.
Well, more. So let's give a hand to Grim Monolith. He did a great job here, and
Thank you.
as the co-host here, and be on the lookout. We're gonna be making more videos like this in the future, and we'll have special guests on there on the future as well. So be on the lookout for those.
Absolutely.
And just thank you for doing your thing. You did a great job here. You did a great job. And there'll definitely be more episodes. Definitely have a lot of time to talk about here because every episode will be about like an hour long. So have a lot to talk about in about an hour. So be on the lookout for everyone. There's more to come, and just look out. The reviews will continue and everything. And just be on the lookout. And thank you all for joining our first episode of Burger and Fries Game Talk with the Shake. And that'll be the norm from now on. First, all I gotta say, thank you all for watching. This is TTBurger 88 and Grim Monolith. Peace and out. Hope you all have a great day. Thank you
Peace out,
for
guys.
watching. First, all I gotta say, thank you all for watching. This is TTBurger 88 and Grim Monolith. Peace and out. Hope you all have a great day. Thank you
Peace out,
for
guys.
watching.